everybody, welcome back to Community Highlights, where we interview members of the Sacramento Comedy Spot community about their relationship to improv. Ava, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. She did ask me before we started if I would be asking veterinary questions.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I know enough about
Good.
to be like, are there dogs at your work?
There are dogs at my work.
Wow, that's all I had to ask.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay, talk to me about your relationship and your history with improv.
I watched Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Heck yeah.
As a kid, and I loved it. And I was always really interested in improv, but I just didn't do it. And then, when I was in undergrad, UCLA had open casting call.
Whoa.
For short form improv, which I didn't really know what that was.
Yeah.
And I get there, and I'm sorry, UCLA, but that was weird, okay? It was just weird improv. I didn't find it very funny.
Okay.
But anyway, didn't make the team, and I'm not bitter about it.
Okay, all right.
At all. Oh, yeah, basically what happened was I wanted to move back to LA, which is where I'm from, and Steven wanted to, my fiance, wanted to stay here and give it a shot, and he's like, you have to make friends. And so I was like, okay, well, I've always been curious about improv, so we started, and it was right when everything was starting to open back up, and it was just so much fun.
That's great.
And then I decided to just keep doing it.
So you would say that you've made friends?
I would say that. I would say that
Nice.
I've made friends. It's been great. I mean, that's the reason we ended up staying.
Okay, so you went through 101 through 301, and then you were on Helix.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then what other shows are you on? You were on Once Upon a Line.
I was on that, and then I've guested on a few things, and then now I'm just on Stem Fatales.
Heck yeah.
Which is...
That's great. So for Once Upon a Line, it was a narrative improv show.
My favorite part was just the characters and getting to see them in multiple scenes, and then having a cohesive story, which is very difficult to do.
When I talk to people about it, I'm like, yeah, there's 5 of us, and we're telling a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and hopefully an emotional arc over the course of, half an hour or an hour. And they're like, sorry, you do that with 4 other people?
Actually, now that you mention it, it probably would be easier if it was just me. Like if it was just one person doing it. But yeah, I mean, everyone has a different idea of like where the story's going, and you just gotta go with it.
It's a lot of trust.
It's hard.
You can physically feel your brain expanding.
Yeah.
I guested on Once Upon a Line, but it wasn't at the Comedy Spot. It was at the Edge of Spring Fantasy Fair last year in Auburn, and I was the narrator.
You were great.
Thank you.
That was one of the most uncomfortable shows I've ever done. I have never walked off of scenes so much. Like, I know you're not supposed to do that, but I did it a lot because we couldn't hear each other, so scenes just weren't getting edited. There was one scene where Chandra was out there talking to herself for, I'm not kidding, 2.5 minutes, and nobody was editing the scene. Oof, God. If it were me, I would have just been like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom or something, and just like walked off.
There was also like one wall of, because it was an outdoor stage that was like covered, and there was one wall that was like stone wall that had ivy on it, and there were just wasps
on
the wall.
There was a wasp's nest.
One of the sideless of the show when you tried to exit was just like full of bees.
Yeah, so we had to go the other way, and then there weren't mics.
No.
There were these standing mics, so we had to walk up to them and talk into them.
Yeah, and then also it wasn't like a thing that people had specifically bought tickets for, so they were kind of like coming and going throughout the show.
Yeah, we, I don't remember who we were after, but there was like,
the weightlifting lady.
There was the weightlifting sword swallower. There were people doing crazy shit, and then it's like, oh, hi, we're an improv team. What's improv? You don't know? Well, okay, we'll show you, kind of, because there's no mics, so you can't hear anything.
I will say, I feel like your team adapted really well, because between the first and the second shows, we had a meeting, and it was like, okay, this is how we're going to, on the fly, change the format of this show to try to fit this venue.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the format for Stem Fatales.
Sure, so... It's actually something Tessa came up with. It was pretty cool. It's like an accordion type show. So basically we The main thing is that we are all smart ladies of science. Most of us. Some of us are experts in other fields like English. And so we start with a question. We ask the audience something that they're curious about, and it could be about literally anything. And then we have a panel of experts who either actually do know the answer to that question, which is usually Vita. She knows everything. Or we just like make it up, and then we do scenes based off of that panel, and then it kind of keeps going back and forth between a panel, scenes, panel, scenes.
Do you use your veterinary knowledge on stage, or do you mostly make stuff up for the panel of experts for Stem Fatales?
So I've done both.
Okay.
It's tough because I thought I would know more about animal questions, but actually Vita knows much more about fish. And
what is her PhD in?
I don't know. Social ecology, I think. But
Vita, shout out in the comments if you want what your PhD is in.
It's social ecology.
Okay.
It had to do with the perception of people towards bats. But she also like has done so much research with birds.
Yeah.
And then she like had snakes growing up.
Wow.
And so she really knows so much about like husbandry and anatomy.
Dang.
Yeah, that's actually the hardest part of that show, are the panels.
Yeah.
Of making things up. Yeah, because you need it to be interesting and have enough information that someone could like start a pattern. Yeah, off of it.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even really thought about that. That like it's not just answering off the cuff. You're trying to set up something in the future.
Yeah.
Like set your teammates up.
Yeah, so you want to have some interesting, like even if it's not the content of what you're saying, you want to have a character or an accent or something about you that someone can recreate. There's some panels or some questions that people ask that we're like, I don't know how to make this funny.
Oh yeah, because you draw them from a bucket. You have the audience write it down and you draw them from like a bucket.
We do that, or we just ask straight up.
Okay.
Which can be tough because sometimes some audiences just don't want to
interact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with the bucket, there's a little bit of an editing process, too, that you could go through.
Yes.
Because sometimes there's a lot of questions about penises, and you're like, I don't need to do that today.
We haven't had enough questions about penises.
Really?
I would love a penis-based question. Because then I could talk about different animal penises.
That's great.
Right?
Okay, you heard it here, folks. More dick jokes at Stem Fatales, please. Okay, so the Helix-style format of Stem Fatales is, like, a little bit more approachable.
I think so, but I'm sure there are people who feel very comfortable with the narrative and are like, actually, I prefer this.
There's been a question from the audience about what has happened to Ava's hand.
So earlier today, about an hour and a half ago,
oh no,
I was draining a dog's abdomen because it's in congestive heart failure, so it had fluid buildup in its belly. Yeah, she was like a bowling ball. She's a tiny dog. She's this big, and her stomach was like this. Yeah,
whoa.
It was crazy. So anyway, basically the way you do it is you take a needle and you stick it in there, and then you just drain the fluid out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was doing that like a boss, and I got out so much fluid, almost a liter of fluid.
Holy shit.
I know, that's a lot of fluid. So then at the end, she was getting restless, of course, and then...
the dog is awake.
Oh yeah, the dog's awake.
Okay.
Just wide awake. She was a very good dog. And then she kind of wiggled, and the needle slipped out from her disgusting ass abdomen and went straight into my hand.
Illegal. No. Bad.
So that's what happened.
Okay. So I assume you had to, it's not just a bandage, you also had to clean the wound, I assume, because it's like a puncture wound.
Licked it clean. No, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I did clean it multiple times, like 4 or 5 times. I've used 2 different antibiotics on it.
Great.
But, you know, as you said, it is a puncture wound, so you can only clean so thoroughly. So we'll see what's in store for me.
Woo! You have a dog.
I have a dog.
Tell me about him.
What is there to say about my sweet angel boy? He's the dumbest dog, which is what I wanted, because smart dogs are a lot. His name is Snoopy. He is a pug. He is 4 years old.
I went to his bar mitzvah.
They went to his bar mitzvah. And that's where he became a man.
He read the Torah.
He read the Torah, and Stephen also became a man at that. It was also his bar mitzvah. He came in as a rescue through my practice, and I'd been looking for a puggle. I know. And then everyone saw him come in, and they're like, oh my God, this is going to be your dog. And I was like, no, it's not, you guys. You're so funny. And then I was like, let's just take him home for the night. And then Steven, my fiance, as you remember, was like, he's cute. But no, because we'd had a really bad dog experience 2 years prior. It had been really bad. So we were both very anxious. So then I neutered him. And then
because I had anxiety, therefore
I neutered him. And I fixed his nose and his throat.
Yeah, because pugs, like, genetically, yeah.
Yeah, so I fixed that. So he's totally
Whoa.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, not totally, but as fine as he could be.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, let's just take him for another few days.
Wow. Famous last words.
I know. And then we did, and then we're like, okay. I mean, this dog sleeps 23 hours a day. Okay.
He's so cute.
At the time, he was 3 years old. Doesn't get into stuff. He's so low maintenance. Like, he prefers being indoors and sleeping. He's just a little cuddle bug. He eats a lot. Like, if you let him. One time he got into a jar of peanut butter on the table, and he ate half a jar, and then he was like comatose the rest of the night. Like, he was just in his bed with his like belly out.
That's so cute. I wanted to ask you about, we did Grease Home Baked together recently.
Yes.
And you played Cha-Cha.
Yes.
How was that experience?
It was great. I think I'd rather be a writer, honestly.
Okay.
It was so much fun. I just realized when you're in it, you don't get to like enjoy the show in the same way.
Yeah.
So the previous two, I was a writer on it, and you have no idea what the other scenes are going to be or anything. And so you really get to see this thing come together, which is so funny and weird.
Yeah.
And
we should explain. Home Baked is a show where comedians get drunk or high and they rewrite famous stories, one scene of a famous story from memory.
Yes.
As best they can.
They're given an outline of this is where the scene begins, these are the characters in it, and this is how the scene should end. Yeah. But everything in between is made up by them. And it's great. So being Cha-Cha was fun. I think I was a pink lady. I mean, I really liked the crazy stuff people had written. It was so fun. It was just fun in a different way.
Yeah. So. You were the Sharkettes in one scene. You were like renamed, and so then you all had little shark hats.
That was all Vita, yes, our costume designer.
Dance captain.
And dance captain. Yeah, and then, let's see, I was Cha-Cha. I was someone named Wendy. So everyone's names kept switching every scene because people didn't remember what the actual names were. I'd only seen Grease once.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that was because of Steven.
Yeah. There was also a scene where it was Rizzo threatens to kill Sandy multiple times. And so when she sings, I think Sandra D, one of Rizzo's songs.
When we had flashlights?
And all the lights went out and you had flashlights.
That was either Kathleen or Vita's idea.
So cool.
Also very good, yes.
Yeah, the amount of time and energy that each individual person puts into the show is wonderful.
Yeah. Especially people like Vita, Kathleen was like so into it. All of the mains memorized their songs.
They all knew their songs.
Crazy.
Wow. It was a great show. People loved it. We sold it out.
Yes. And part of the show is supposed to be that it's kind of put together. Yeah. So, I couldn't be perfect.
No, you're adding to the ethos of the show.
Right. I'm just doing what they want.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
If you want to see Ava on her show, then you can go to saccomedyspot.com/calendar for STEM Fatales.
Yay!